So for you, what support was available to you when applying for university?
Hi, can I borrow
Yes,
your
of
mic?
course.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I've seen lots of lovely faces in the morning, but before I start, I'd like to tell you all, welcome to the University of York, St. John's University, and thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak here. I don't know I can finish by 5 minutes, but I'll try my best. The experience, which is applying for universities, what sort of support I had. There is a lot of drawbacks in that journey, but I would like to tell you about all these stuffs in a brief way. It was not an easy journey since 2018, beginning of 2018, because we became a victim of modern day slavery and trafficking in the UK. It was not really easy for me to think about education. By the time I was rescued, I was thinking that I could be a Hollywood movie star, and I still think I'm the most charismatic person in this whole room. But bearing in mind, you need education actually to enlighten the world and to leave something for the world. So I have decided, and with my mom, my beloved mom, she passed away 3 months ago. She told me that, look, son, do something for the community, do something for the people, which can be remembered after your death. So I decided that I should go back to education. This is the only one way I can establish myself. Then I applied through UCAS, which was a horrible experience because as an asylum seeker in the UK, I didn't have access to bank account. And then that time you have to pay through bank account to UCAS to apply for university degrees. I did manage to pay them through the bank, and that was a big story I can tell you later on. I've got a little stall in the front of my staff, so you can ask me any questions. So when I applied for the Teesside University, it happens like I've got a study ban, obviously from Home Office, with some sort of conditions and some sort of information which I never knew. That they said I was in here in 2016, stuff like this, which never exist. So that time I was so confused that since my childhood from my country, I thought there is a basic human rights for you to have some food, to have some shelter and education. And nobody in this world, at least in the UK, shouldn't tell me that you cannot study. That clicks on my mind, and I said, no, it cannot be happening like this. So I tried to find some organizations, stuff like this, Refugee Aid, which came forward, who sort of put me into the Duncan Lewis solicitor to challenge the decision against Home Office. And in my utter surprise, I was in London in the High Court, and the Home Office spokesperson came and he was asking the judge, can we have 2 more months to give that decision, that why we said in the first place this guy cannot study. So the judge got really furious. He said, stop your utter nonsense, this guy needs to know what he's doing, or if he's got a place in the university, why you are stopping him, because he doesn't have any access to public fund. For that limbo, I lost my scholarship last year in the Teesside University, which was a great grief, but I did started pushing up Home Office, and I thought I should go for judicial review for Home Office, which I did took the Home Office to judicial review after my study ban was left, and the Home Office came with a nice solution that we give you legal aid money back and you go away. And I said, well, that's a nice offer, but I'm sorry, no, I'm not taking these unless you pay me my scholarship money back, because I want to study. Then they said, sorry, we cannot do that, but we have some offers for you. What about, what do you think about this law, what is going on currently at the moment? And I said, yeah, if you change this law, I will let you go. Yeah, then that it happens within 5 days of time after my judicial review has been appealed. The Home Office was forced to change the law for asylum seekers, which is available in Immigration Bill Act 2.0, published in 8th of May 2018. So my case was one of the landmark cases which established the rights of asylum seekers to study after my case. And after that, the big challenge came that, look, in Northeast, there is no scholarship for me. You need money to study, isn't it? and that is a huge amount of money because I'm studying international students. I haven't done my IELTS yet, so then if you again helped me, STAR helped me a lot. But I run my own campaign in Northeast, sending letter to the deans, poor vice chancellors, but in very less cases they do reply back to you. But I did manage to run campaign inside the university, protest as well with a group called MHAF, and then there's a successful result came in this year, 6 scholarships from Northumbria and 3 scholarships is coming from Newcastle for asylum seekers. But the journey was not really easy. I tried my best, but I would like to say that the help is available, you need to find it. But for people like me, because I can speak English, I do know English a little bit, which is I can go through. But for other asylum seekers, it's not easy. They don't know what their right is. They are being told that, why don't you go back? I listen to these words every month, probably twice or thrice from different people. Without knowing my condition, they would ask me that, why don't you go back to your country? But I'm sorry, I cannot go back because there is something behind me which is keeping me here. And I'm trying to be in this country. I try to serve this country, but it's not easy. Let's talk about the hope. Yeah, there is some changes which I try to make, which try to give the asylum seekers some hopes and rights to establish their study rights, and I will try my best to work it on in future. And these scholars in here, whenever I see them, I feel really delighted that these flowers are blooming now, and these flowers will blow, all of these operations and repressions against us by the Home Office, which should be stopped. This is a hostile environment. If anyone wants to know more about it, as I told you, I've got a little stall in front of me, in the front area. You can come and talk to me about my journey. But nonetheless, is my 5 minutes finished? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I know I talk a little bit because I want to be an actor in Hollywood and I want to buy a house in Beverly Hills. But no, that's a later matter. But I will work my best, and those are the opportunities that are available now, and we will work on it. And thanks to City of Sanctuary, University of Sanctuary for giving me a platform to be here, to raise my voice. And sorry to take other scholars' time, but I do really appreciate you have allowed me to speak. Thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. I'm really happy you asked that question too. It's one of the crucial questions which always comes on our mind. I hope all of our scholars would agree with that, what would you like through that process. First things we would like that the university should support us when Home Office wants to deport us through the education journey. And it happens in a lot of cases that I've started my studies, and then I'm in second year, then Home Office just refused my case and they want to deport me. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I found it very typical that the universities think Home Office is a god, and they always listen to Home Office regardless of our situations and stuff like this. It has to be in consideration from the universities that, look, we've given him a scholarship, this is not from the public fund, this is our own fund. He is classified as an international student, he is seeking asylum, so you cannot deport him. There is a lot of example of that the university has given support, and they did campaign protest against Home Office, and the deportation has been stopped. I would like to just to request the universities, when this kind of things happens, it does breaks our the way of study, and mentally we get very low to continue our study. So that is the first point which I will mention. Second thing is, all of us who is seeking asylum in here, we are in a limbo thinking that my status will be changed. I'll be a refugee, probably. And then what happened? The university took off that scholarship from you because you have access to public fund. I think this is not fair. You have been given scholarship for your whole journey. You make up your mind and you will go for it. So the university should think about it. Even the person's status is changed to refugee status after he got the scholarship, he should be given that opportunity to continue his education. What the university always put on the mind that, oh no, you have some opportunities now, so we can use that money for some other asylum seekers. But universities are not poor. They're not taking money from outside people. They have lots of funds. They can sort this out. Like Nordavi is giving 6 scholarships this year, and whether Durham is not giving anything, I'm still fighting with them, one of the richest university in the UK. So that support, assurance is much more needed. That even if your status is changed, we will continue scholarship. And the third thing is, as you say, that after the degrees start like these, we obviously need guidance. By the time we finish our study, I think the university, we are quite confident as a scholar that we know what to do. But by the time we finish our study, if we are still going that transition period as an asylum seekers, there is some postgraduate or master's scholarship available for us. The university can help us with that. In the meantime, there's another one thing I would like to add in during this journey. I will be starting this year university from September this month. But what I found through my thesis or my research is that we are sometimes in a mental health problems thinking about that we'll be destitute, like homeless, or the home office will kick me out from the house. Bearing in mind, for me, my staying place comes first. This is one of my basic needs. Education is my basic need as well, but if there is no place to stay, then that will be a big problem for me to continue my study. Food, you can go to food banks and stuff like this, and people can give you food, but not that part. So when that happens, can the university at least give us some accommodation in that time? Because when your case is refused, you've been put as a destitute person. Then to go for Section 5 and Section 4, something like this, it takes time. But in the meantime, who will keep you? You can just be homeless or buy a tent and stay in the road. And it doesn't seem good if a university scholar is living in the roadside. I don't feel good, but if these things can be taken into consideration, and top of that, some extra money for, you have to buy study materials, stuff like this. University always says that, oh, you got a big library, there's lots of books, you can go and find it easily. But end of the day, you have to buy some stuff for your study materials and stuff like this. £37, if you think it's very enough. I would like to challenge that person here that how come this £37 is enough for us like a scholar. Thank you.
That doesn't really depend on the student. It depends on what is available for the student. If, for example, the university, can someone organize a meeting or, I don't know, just a conference with societies or organizations who provide bursary and try to harmonize around sanctuary, between university and sanctuary and those organizations, it will be fine. For example, as I said for my case, the time I received my response, I needed to look for funds. The deadline for applying for bursaries were closed. So
I think the question's around the timing of the UCAS application. So when you apply through UCAS, you have to put make a university your firm choice by I think the start of May, and then a lot of universities have their scholarship deadlines after that. So then you're making a university a firm choice, not knowing if you're going to get a scholarship from them.
Yeah, just to add you there, sorry, if anyone wants to speak first? Okay, you go first, then I'll tell.
Well, I was going to share my experience of Winchester University because last year was my first year. So basically, obviously UCAS closes by January. Winchester applications were meant to be in by the end of February, and then interviews held in the middle of March. So by end of March, you sort of knew whether you got a place or not, and that's perfectly good time for you to firm a place.
Yeah.
I also sort of had the same experience, but I didn't have to have an interview, so I applied in January, and then the deadline for the scholarship was in end of March.
Yeah.
And I think it's the earlier the better, because in this way we sort of have a bit more options, and you can sort of find another way to get a scholarship if that is rejected, because for myself, I had to sort of start university a year after, because I had a place in university, but I didn't have a scholarship, and it was too late to apply for another scholarship because everything was, all the deadlines were closed.
Yeah.
So the earlier, I think, the better.
Yeah, just to add in there, if the universities like you are here, all the university people, we are classified as an international student, don't we? So why we need to go through UCAS?
Yeah, so we have tuition fee concessions for
yeah. So my request, or I would suggest, like what Northumbria did this year, because I was classified as an international student, I can apply directly to the university, not through UCAS. UCAS, for me, I think it's a bit problematic. I give you an example. Like when I applied to UCAS, I have to pay £12 or £10, something like this, and that's because that time I didn't have bank account. It was a big problem. I did personally have to have some question answers from the bank manager from Barclays asking me why you are sending this money. So if universities can publish these scholarships by December or by November previous year, that look, from next September we are having these scholarships, you have these options you can apply either through UCAS, or you can apply either yourself directly to the university admissions. Then it will be the proper time limit, which I think then encourage the students by December, the whole month, that decided which university I should choose, and then regarding that money, as you said, £10, which probably we can get as a grant from the university or something like this. It's not an easy process when you don't have bank account in the UK as an asylum seekers, but just to add in there is no rules from Home Office, and asylum seeker cannot open a bank account. I did open mine in the bank account, calling police, but by challenging the bank manager. But if people has to know about it first, and the university should know this, not to just signpost us, open a bank account, do that or do that. They need to know that fact. Is that answer?
Yeah. When I started university, obviously I felt different. I was coming from a different background, and I had gone through so many other difficulties to get there. So I felt like Yorkstar, the Student Action for Refugees, was the place where I could sort of talk to people who maybe had gone through the same thing, but at least knew about the Equal Access Scholarship and what asylum seekers go through. So that came naturally to me to sort of search, something that is related to people like me, and be part of that. On the other side, I think this is not about each of us individually, it's about more people behind us who maybe are going through the same thing, but they don't even know that there is a scholarship, or they're struggling out there. So why I think we're doing this is just to empower other people who don't have the opportunity to go to university and better themselves. So this is this gap in education is it touches more people than us individually, and why I'm here is just to help the system, universities and people who can make this happen an easier journey for other people who are struggling right now. So yeah.
I think I could touch on that as well. The opportunities that the University of Winchester gave me was I'll say it was in my second year, they gave me the opportunity to become a student ambassador. And the goal behind that is for me to actually meet refugees that aren't quite at the university age yet, but are like maybe late to school, so year 11, college time. And they would invite these individuals to come to the university, have residential days, and it gives them an opportunity to meet someone like me who has gone through this process. And I could share with them, I could speak to them like I'm speaking to you now, about my experience and how they're able to overcome the barriers as well. So I think it is an important thing, and it is a useful thing for universities to give people like us an opportunity to champion these values that we have. And it comes down to making sure that these values are embedded in the universities. So it's something that doesn't end when we graduate. It's something that will continue to run after we move on. So that can be through groups like STAR or whatever system that university can install. It's a case of having something where when new incoming students arrive at the university, they'll be able to see what has happened before. They can and they'll be able to know that, okay, I'm able to do something to make a change community-wise at the university and wider as well.
Quick one I would like to add. The university is giving me an opportunity to stand somewhere. This is why I'm sitting here, so which is I'm really grateful to. And also that getting that scholarships, thinking about myself, look, I can be a champion, but I can also assist some future champion through my journey. And that journey was not easy, but now I'm going to make it easy. Lots of organizations was helping me, like If You Wait. I would like to mention about STAR as well, which is helping me to learn about other skills. Then Ben, who was one person from Junior Project, who helped me from the beginning. And the things, stuff like these, I mean, I think it is the regulation, and it has just started. I know the stuff has started since last 2004 and 2005, but the awareness is coming through now because the scholars knew about their rights. And for myself, I think it is much more important for people like me in my situations, or like the scholars. We try to find our rights and we try to pass it on to the future next generation, which is really important. University should focus on it. Giving us an opportunity, yes, scholarships, we are really grateful for it. We'll go for the education stuff like this, but ensuring that journey will be much safe and without any hindrance is much more important for me, because by the time I go to bed at night, there's lots of stuff coming in my mind that, well, will I be able to continue this, or will I be a lawyer after 5-6 years? Will I be able to work for the people like modern slavery and trafficking? Yeah, being a scholar, it feels good from inside you, but there's a lot of journeys to be made. It is not easy, and people around us, they're always grateful to us. They are really kind. They must understand that we sometimes lose our mind as well. These things are really deep, trust me, really deep. Without being in this situation, you don't understand, but what I would like to thank all of you, these people, these lovely faces who are in here. Thanks for coming and listening to us. It gives us a hope that, look, there is someone for us in this place, which they can take us to our journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're given a welcome pack, don't you? So why don't you include in there? Why don't you pursue Home Office to put that information in that pack? Why don't you influence Home Office from the universities that to put that information page? If you want to study, you can, let's say, get in touch with STAR, can, let's say, get in touch with City of Sanctuary or University of Sanctuary. Why we are so scared? Why we cannot raise our voice? Well, I can't do that, but I can keep writing to them. They will never answer me. But if that is a university and collaborations from City of Sanctuary, stuff like this, it would work. Yeah.